Hey everybody, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different from the BMWs I'm normally playing around with, and instead we're going to just be doing a simple oil change on my family member's 2013 Honda Civic. So your Honda owner's manual actually has pretty good information about changing the oil, and it shows you the procedure here. And so if you look in your manual under the maintenance section, it'll have a section for changing the engine oil and filter, and it'll tell you kind of what you need to do. So since this is a 1.8 liter engine, I'm going to have to remove the bolts on the undercarriage and remove this cover so that we can access it. And it shows you a picture of that right here and where all those different bolts are, so that's really nice. And if we go to the other page, then it'll tell you, okay, remove the drain bolt and the washer. And going along, we can see the rest of the procedure for changing the oil filter, and it even tells you all the torque specs for all the replacements. So this is really nice. It also tells you the filling capacity. So since this is a 1.8 liter, this is going to be 3.9 quarts or 3.7 liters of new oil that'll be in there. So another thing to note is seeing what in this procedure needs to be completely replaced. So obviously you need to replace the oil and the filter, but it also says on number 8 here, put a new washer on the drain bolt. So make sure your oil change kit has that washer, or source that separately. Before you raise the car up, make sure that the parking brake is on, so if you're only lifting the front, the rear wheels aren't going to slide or start rolling. So in order to drain the oil out of the engine, we're going to have to put the front of the car in the air, and there's kind of two ways to do this. One, you can drive the car up on ramps, which is probably the easiest way, but if you don't have ramps, then you can use the jack and jack stands to support the car. And if you're looking for where that jack point is, it's right here on the pinch weld. And so you can see the tire on the right, so it's not too far behind the tire. And there's another jack point in the rear, however for this you really don't need to use that. Okay, looking under the front of the car and looking back just a little bit, we have this cross member here. And kind of in the center you can see that nub, and this is the front center jack point. So if you want to lift up the front of the car and leave both of the front jack points behind the wheels open to put your jack stands, you would put your jack on here, lift it up, and then put your jack stands in on the side. And then next we're going to open the hood by using this button down here. So we'll just go ahead and reach in and give that a pull. And now you can see in this gap in the hood that's opened up here, you see this little lever, and we need to put that up to release the latch. So I've got my hand in here, I'm pushing it up, and now I can lift the hood off. And then we'll go ahead here and grab this support, pop it out of its clip, and insert it into the marked area on the hood. Next we can go to the side of the engine and undo the oil fill cap. Okay, so here we are looking at the bottom protection plate for the 1.8 liter engine, and as you can see there are 4 Phillips bolts securing this. So we're just going to take our Phillips and remove those bolts. And then you can see these tabs that plate sits on, so what we have to do is we have to slide this plate towards the back of the car to take it off. Okay, here we are looking at the bottom of the engine, and you'll notice the very helpful text right here that says engine oil, and it has a little arrow pointing to this bolt here. So this is going to be our oil drain plug. And before we undo that drain plug, we'll want to go ahead and move our oil catch receptacle into place. So I've got this bucket here. And then next I'm going to take my 17 millimeter and go ahead and undo this drain plug till the oil starts coming out. Okay, after wiping down the drain plug, let's go ahead and take the old washer off of here. And we'll want to put a new one on. Now that the oil is pretty much all done dripping out, we're going to go ahead and take the drain plug and just screw it in by hand to start. And then we'll take a shop towel, wipe the area down, make sure it's all nice and clean. Then you'll go ahead and get that 17 millimeter again, get your torque wrench, set it to 29 foot-pounds, and then torque that bolt to spec. Next, let's look for the oil filter, and you can see this one here. This is an aftermarket one because the last person that changed it didn't use a genuine Honda part. But anyhow, it'll be a good idea to once again put your oil catch receptacle underneath, since these filters can hold a decent amount of oil in them. And then you can either grab your oil filter wrench, a rubber strap wrench, kind of like this, or sometimes these are even kind of just on hand tight. So I'm going to use my strap wrench just to loosen it up a little bit here. And then I can do the rest by hand. And watch out, because you'll probably have oil come out again when you unscrew this all the way. There we go, there's all that oil. Next, we're going to prime the old oil filter. So we're going to fill this with oil, but don't get super flush to the top. And then we're going to take a little bit of that oil and just run it around the rim of that gasket there, so it's nicely lubricated. And we'll go ahead and clean up this general area if oil got in the oil pan down here or any of these under trays. Now we'll take the new oil filter with that oil that we primed in it, stick it into the receptacle, and we'll screw it on. Then go ahead and take your oil filter wrench, strap wrench, or whatever again, and then tighten that oil filter to spec. On this particular one that they bought, it just says turn one full turn after the gasket contacts the oil pan. Now that everything on the oil pan is secured and torqued to where it needs to be, we can go ahead and put the bottom shield back on. And the bottom shield's going to tilt upwards to get into the slots it needs to be in front here. And then you can rock up the back and make sure it gets onto all those clips that it needs to slide on. Some of them can be a little bit tapered inwards, so you may have to try and put your hand through some of these holes to pull down on the plastic so that the clips will actually protrude enough to engage. Then we can take those 4 Phillips bolts, put them back in, and then just secure them hand tight snug. And then now we can start to fill in the new oil. And remember, for this 1.8 liter engine, it takes a 3.9 quart fill. Now that all the oil is filled, go ahead and put your oil filler cap back on. And then next we can check to see the oil fill level by using the dipstick, and Honda wants you to do this when the engine's hot. So we're going to turn the car on, let it idle for a couple minutes, about 3 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and check it. So now the engine has been running a little bit, and we shut it off, let it cool down for a minute or two. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the dipstick. I'm going to wipe it so we can get a clean reading. We'll reinsert it and pull it out again to see where the oil level is. And we can see that the oil is within that cross hatching and not above it. So we know that we are at the appropriate oil level now. So we'll go ahead and put the dipstick in, and we know we're good to go there. Then we can go ahead and remove the engine support, put that down into its holder, and then go ahead and lower the hood, and then we'll give it a nice push till it latches. Okay, now that everything is secure underneath, we can go ahead and lower the car now. So there we go. That's the oil change on this 2013 Honda Civic 1.8 liter engine.